I am now live, which is great. I mean, I've been live for a few decades. Not going to say how many decades because there's a whole revolution around the sun coming up and not really cool with what's coming. Peter Pan syndrome. What? Happy Friday, everybody. Nobody's on yet, but we all know who's going to be first, don't we? Unless somebody happens to beat the usual first person on, or I'll just stand here and talk to myself for all y'all. You know, it happens from time to time. People don't want to hang out with me. I am, a little bit awkward sometimes. That's not what you think. That's just some bubbly. Oh, look, Chris. Thanks for joining, Chris. And Norbs, look at that. Somebody else beat Peyton to the punch. Whoa. Awesome. Happy Friday, guys. As you can see, I didn't close the blinds behind me because the sunlight just feels good. And we need sunlight. We need all of the happiness we can get. Bitter End Bar, thanks for joining. Cool. Thanks for joining, everybody. This is great to see. Off to a good start. I'm loving this. Yes, I'm a little bit more formal today than usual. Why? A couple reasons. One, on Tuesday we spoke about mental health and talked about, if it's okay to not be okay. And you know what? I mentioned that I've been struggling, and so I decided I needed to feel a little bit more in touch with my bartender-ness and the me that is the bartender, that is the mixologist, that is, that person. Sorry, other camera is fading in and out as I move and having difficulty. So, camera 1, camera 2. If you remember Wayne's World. If you know, you know. Steven, thanks for joining, sir. Andy, how you doing, Gump? I mean, my lovely sister. So yeah, I spoke about that, and so I felt, you know what, let's just, do it up a little bit today. Also, I had to take a corporate headshot for the corporate website that, for PMA, whom I work for. They're putting out a new org chart, and they want everybody to have a photograph. And they're like, be professional, but be yourself. And I'm like, those two things don't exactly coincide with me. So you're all going to be surprised, and I hope you're sitting down. I went with the mature and professional route. There's still a little bit of me, a squeech. There's a squeech of me in that picture. But yeah, I know. You're all shocked, and my sister is literally like, right now, having a minor cardiac episode that I chose to be mature and professional. Because, well, she's known me for a few decades, even though she's been around more decades than I have. Okay, fine. Same number of decades, but, she's further into this decade than I am. Anyway, guys, it's Fizz Friday, so I'm just going to get to it and make my fizz. Hey, John, you're just in time for my fizz. So I know I'm going to go dark every once in a while as I move. I do apologize, but I just couldn't bear myself to use artificial light and darken the background because, sunshine. There you go. That's my view out my kitchen window, which you rarely get to see. So there we go. I've got my lemon. I've got my fresh bottle of Take Aximas. You're funny. You're the one who said I had a face for radio. Got my bottle of Di Serono, and I'm gonna grab. I got my glass. I'm not gonna push it against that thing because that, causes your glass to sprout holes, and then your Di Serono Fizz leaks all over the counter, and it's a terrible waste. All right, I've got my Di Serono Fizz glass. I got my Di Serono. We're just gonna pour in a healthy measure. It looks like 2 ounces. I've got my lemon. Now, as you can see, this lemon has been previously abused. It's been zested for garnish purposes, but I'm still going to use it. I'm not going to waste it. No sense in wasting a perfectly good lemon. And nothing but sink. Now, normally this would be when I take out my SodaStream bottle, and I say I use SodaStream because I don't want to use club soda, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, my SodaStream is out of gas, and I haven't had the ability or the time or the wherewithal to deal with the people of Walmart or Canadian Tire to go get a fresh canister. So my SodaStream is out of commission. So today, I'm going to funk up my fizz. That's right, my fizz is getting funky with a little pineapple bubbly. Also because I'm out of cans of plain club soda. Hey, good sir. Thank you for joining, Emmanuel. Happy Fizz Friday, my good man. We've got our Di Serono Fizz here. Added an extra layer of flavor with some pineapple bubbly. Ooh, cheeky, and it works. All right. Tasty. Thanks, John. Appreciate the compliment. As I was saying, just trying to, feel better about myself, feel a little bit more professional, a little bit more in touch with my game. Just amping it up. Plus, come on, it's a tie-in waistcoat. And the advantage of wearing a waistcoat with a pocket when you go out in public. Oh, look, I've got a pocket square. Nope, it's not just a pocket square. It's my mask. Take my mask off, fold it up, and look, there we go. Pocket square. Done, right? Great idea. I think we need to wear more waistcoats with pockets dude, it's a fantastic cocktail. It's super easy to make. It's Di Serono, a little bit of lemon juice, and this pineapple bubbly. I'm not always a fan of flavored sparkling waters because they're either artificial or they've got that saccharin aspartame flavor to it. It's not a vest, Andy. It's a waistcoat. Stop it. But in this case, bubbly actually does a really good job. Dakota, thanks for joining. Kyle, dude, happy Fizz Friday, my friend. Cheers. A couple of you missed out. I was just explaining that I'm out of my plain soda stream, so I'm using a flavored sparkling water, the pineapple bubbly. It's actually really, really good. Kind of gives it a bit of pina colada tropical kick, which just now makes me really want to have my toes in the sand on a beach with the ocean waves rolling in. Ooh. That's one for the blooper reel. I also work with, a number of British and Irish and Scottish and Australian people who call them waistcoats because it's a waistcoat. Also been watching Lord of the Rings, which, they call it a waistcoat as well. Only us Canadians call them vests. And when you say vest, you think of the sweater vest, and then you think of Chandler Bing, and I'm definitely not Chandler Bing. Enough said. There. Anyway, so like I said, this is partly about mental health and just feeling better about yourself. So you know what? Take off the yoga pants, put on some jeans, put on a skirt, put on some dress pants, whatever. Just do yourself up a little bit. Trust me, you'll feel better about yourself, even though you're just going to go from one room to another and sit on a Zoom call. You know what? You just feel a little bit better about yourself. I actually wore this on multiple Zoom calls this afternoon. People are like, ooh, looking sharp, looking fancy. What's the occasion? I'm like, well, I told one of them, like, well, it's for the corporate headshot that we had to submit. She's like, oh, forgot about that. I'll send them something from Facebook later. And I know she's going to watch this later, so without naming you or calling you out, anyway, it would be the peach bubbly to me tastes too much like the peach candies, the fuzzy peaches, and it's again got a little bit of that saccharin aspartame flavor to it. But some of the other flavors are out there. There's one that's not in Canada yet that I've had, which is the mango, and the mango is amazing. I just want them to bring the mango to Canada. Bubbly, when you're watching, I'm going to tag you in this later. Bring the mango bubbly to Canada, please. Anyway, yesterday I had a really cool opportunity to go work behind a bar in the city of Toronto. Addicts Hair Group, thanks for joining. Hey guys, we say hi, we miss you. Hope all is well with you up there in Bolton. So yes, I was behind a bar in Toronto yesterday. What happened was a few of us got together to do some cocktail ideation, share ideas, come up with things. So for those of you who don't know, yes, I am the Canadian brand ambassador for Tia Maria and Di Serono, which is owned by the Italian company Ilva. It's a family-owned business owned by the Reina family. However, I technically work for them through PMA. Wow, through... When did I become a tuba? I don't know. It's an 8 day. Did you get any 8? Do you want some 8? I'm going to start throwing numbers around. And if you know, you know. Hashtag Brian Regan. Anyway, I work through PMA Canada for Ilva, so PMA Canada is an import distribution marketing agency. And they handle a huge family of brands, most of which you've seen me work with. Glenfiddich, Hendrick's, Luxusova, Vibrova, Jack Daniels, Woodford Reserve, Herradura Tequila, El Jimador Tequila, Tequila Tromba, to name just a few, and I know I'm missing so many. We handle a number of wines. We handle some Polish beers, Florida Canyon Rum, Gosling's Rum, Sailor Jerry's, so many brands. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I met with one of my sales reps, we call them territory managers, who covers the Toronto area and handles most of the cocktail-centric bars and restaurants, etc. in the city. We dropped off some surprise and delight gifts for them on Wednesday. But yesterday, she and I, so this is Nicole, Auntie Pickle, you heard me talk about her last week when she joined my Tea at Tuesday and I did my Irish coffee thing. That sort of spawned the whole idea. So it was her, it was myself, it was Juki, at Jukie, JUKIE.TO. She is our Tequila Tromba brand ambassador. She's an absolutely lovely young lady. You should follow her and check out what she's doing with Tromba Tequila. And one of my peers and mentors, Mr. Robin Wynn, at DJ Robin Wynn. If you want to know anything about rum, he's the guy to go see. I worked with him at Miss Things. He has moved on to a new project by a bar called Little Sister. They're opening a new location in downtown Toronto. It's very, very cool. So we were all there with our masks and socially distancing and very, very careful. There was only one of us behind the bar at a time. We washed all of our tools right away. Kyle, nobody's as cool as you. So I just want you to know that the four of us were in this space. We were all very safe. But we wanted to share some ideas and say, okay, how can we leverage the whole PMA portfolio and help come up with recipes for our other sales reps and say, hey, when you're going in and you're talking about Tromba Tequila or you're talking about Di Serono, here are some cocktails that you might not have thought of, and now you're going to add value and get more sales to those bars and restaurants. They want to carry Tromba, but they've already got Di Serono. Well, let's sell in this Tromba and Di Serono cocktail. So we spent some time doing what we call cocktail ideation, aka mixology, coming up with cocktails, sharing cocktail ideas and recipes. And I came up with one yesterday, totally off the cuff, that I'd like to share with you now. And if you saw my Instagram, my Facebook in the last 45 minutes, you saw the photograph, you read the description. It's kind of cool because I made a drink that tastes like something that doesn't have that flavor in it, which is always kind of cool. At one point, I remember a bar manager that I worked for, John Gray, at Versailles, he made a cocktail that tasted like grapefruit. There was no grapefruit anywhere near it, which was really kind of interesting, just by combining other flavors. And I'm sorry about the reflection. No, I'm not really, because it's, sunlight and not a cloudy day. So I'm going to make that cocktail for you now. There we go. So I'm going to start by throwing some ice in my shaker. And the cocktail came about because Nicole asked me to create something with a Jägermeister product. It's a new innovation, and sadly, I always forget one thing. I left my Jägermeister cold brew down the street in my storage locker. So today I'm going to combine Jaeger with Tia Maria to replicate that effect. So I've got good old Jägermeister. And if you say this is gross, then you need to learn a thing or two. This is an absolutely delicious spirit. And they've gone and released a version with cold brew coffee in it because everybody's doing cold brew. Although, this is the original cold brew. Hashtag plugging Tia Maria on Fizz Friday. So I'm going to take a half an ounce of my Jaeger. And it's the only, to quote Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy, as some of you may know him, it's the only spirit that makes you yell its name, Jaeger! Just go watch Fluffy on Netflix, you'll get it. And that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm going to add just a splash of Tia Maria because I don't want too much of that coffee influence, but I do want a little bit, so I'm just going to go a quarter ounce. So that's going to equal the Jaeger cold brew. Next up, obviously, this was a Di Serono cocktail, so I'm going to go big on this. We're going 1.5 ounces of Di Serono. Now, that's a lot of sweet. We need something to bring it back and give it some structure, some dryness, and a little bit of backbone, as I like to use the term, right? Where you've got a spirit that sort of holds up all of the other flavors. And that today is Jack Rye. Kyle, you better be taking notes, brother, because you can sell this bad boy in anywhere. So I've got, Kyle, I've got Jaeger Cold Brew, I've got Di Serono, I've got Jack Rye. I mean, come on. How many KPIs can you hit with one? Stop doing that, dude, right? And for those of you who don't know, Kyle is one of our territory managers out in southern Alberta. I'm going to use 3/4 ounce, and yes, Kyle, I'll send you the recipe. 3/4 ounce of Jack Rye. Now, for those of you who never tried it, you got to try it. Jack Rye is delicious. Now, if you know me, and most of you do, that's why you're watching me, all three of you, you know that I like my brown spirits. I like my Irish whiskey. I like my Scotch. I like my bourbon. I don't normally talk a lot about rye or rye whiskeys, Canadian whiskeys, things like that. One in the PMA portfolio is Gibson's, which you've seen me use. Prior to my association with PMA, the rye of choice for me was called Lot 40. It's a 100% rye grain whiskey made here in Ontario, down in Windsor. And don't get me wrong, I still love it. It's a fantastic whiskey. But for, professional purposes, I'm going to stick within our portfolio. And this is so good. You get all of that rye spice. It's got some great other flavors going on there. Oh, some florality, some maple. Dude, I'm not sliding into your DMs. That just sounds wrong. I'll just email you. Kyle, I'm not sliding into your DMs. Sorry. Jack Rye, it's great. If you haven't had it before, I highly recommend go and pick some up. Now, what does this cocktail need? It needs something else. It needs a little bit of acid. Not lemon, because I already threw the lemon in the sink. Pink grapefruit. That's right. I'm just going to throw some freshly, and this is how fresh this is. You can hear me squeezing grapefruit into. There we go. Again, 2 for 2 in the sink. And now I'm going to give this a shake. Here we go. Ooh. All right. Open this bad boy up. Yep. All right. I've got my glass. See, I remembered my glass. I remember my ice cube. I've got my garnish ready to go. See? There we go. All right. So today I'm using a spherical ice cube, which shattered on impact. Son of a... No, I'm just kidding. It's all good. All right. There we go. And this is one thing that I have been terribly remiss on in our live conversations with each other, and that's garnishing my cocktails. 12 3/4 cubes, Kyle. I'm just kidding. You want to fill your half shaker with ice. The more ice you shake with, the quicker you're going to chill, dilute, and get your cocktail out. But no, as I was saying, one thing I'm terribly remiss on, and I do apologize, and I'm going to endeavor to be better and do better at, and that's garnishing your cocktails. Every cocktail that ever leaves a bar should have a garnish. You should never get a cocktail that doesn't have a garnish. Even if it's the plain old lemon wedge, lime wedge, whatever. It's something visual, because we drink with our eyes first. Example, the espresso martini gets those 3 coffee beans that represent health, wealth, and happiness. Lemon twists, brandied cherries, and a Manhattan. Things like that. This one I garnished with a dehydrated orange slice. So I'm just going to slip that in, not slop it, slip it in. And there we go. We have a delicious cocktail that tastes like iced tea. It tastes like you're drinking iced tea, and I'm not talking like sweetened Nestea or any of those pre-made, sweetened teas. This is like proper iced tea. But there's no tea anywhere near it. That's the magical thing about it. And that's what I love about doing this, is that you can create flavors and replicate flavors by using ingredients other than that flavor, which is really weird. And it's a lot of fun. I was recently challenged earlier this week. No, it's not a Long Island iced tea. It's nowhere near a Long Island iced tea, but it still tastes like a proper, like iced, like cold orange pico tea, which is really cool. As I was saying, I was not even challenged. Something came up in a conversation with one of our PR people, and we were talking about Tia Maria and how it can replicate flavors and how it can be used and how versatile it is. And I mentioned, silly me, I opened my big mouth and my flavor brain ratatouille came out, as it does. And I mentioned chocolate bars and making cocktails that taste like chocolate bars. And so one of her partners, teammates, came to me and said, so she's looking for these recipes. We want to get them out to influencers and whatnot. Can you get me the recipes for those 4 chocolate bar cocktails? And I didn't realize that the PR rep had been making notes. I thought we were just having a casual chat. And so I spent the better part of the afternoon Wednesday. Was it Wednesday or yesterday? I don't remember. Days don't even matter anymore. Anyway, sorry? Wednesday. Yes, it was Wednesday. I spent the better part of the afternoon making cocktails that taste like chocolate bars. And one of my favorite chocolate bars, please don't judge me, is the Big Turk. It's not real Turkish Delight, but it's a fun version of Turkish Delight. And so I came up with a cocktail called the Big Turk. It's Tia Maria, it's rose water, it's hibiscus rosehip tea. There's vodka in it. There's a bunch of other fun stuff in it, but it tastes like a Big Turk. I made a coffee crisp cocktail. I did an after 8 / York peppermint patty chocolate minty thing. And I know there isn't really a chocolate bar for it, but yep, I made an Oreo cocktail. It was a lot of fun. Pardon me while Kyle, you're not allowed to judge me. Anywho, I'm just going to rinse down that half Oreo with a little bit of Jack Rye. Anywho, it was a lot of fun. And that's part of what I love about my job, is being able to do fun things like that. Is, come up with fun cocktails, great ideas. And these are things that you can make at home, because rosehip hibiscus tea sounds really fancy. Guess what? Bulk Barn. That's where I found it. Just walking through Bulk Barn, and I saw rosehip hibiscus tea, and I opened the thing and I took a whiff, and through the mask you don't always get as much, but I was like, ugh. And it's fantastic. So and that's how, this is how cocktails come up. It's you smell an ingredient, you look at an ingredient, you taste it, and you're like, how can I apply this? How can I work with it? And as soon as I smelled that tea through my mask in the Bulk Barn, I went, Turkish Delight, Big Turk, Tia Maria, boom, 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 boom. And then that's the ratatouille firework thing that you've seen me do and talk about. And that's how it happens. That's my creative process. Sometimes I actually sit down and I map things out, and I don't want to say Venn diagrams, but they kind of are, but they're like squiggled with arrows all over. And I actually have a notebook, and maybe one day I'll let you see the playbook. Yes, I called it the playbook. If you know, you know. Not that playbook. It's the cocktail playbook. That's how it works. And so I spent some time yesterday with our Tromba, as I said, our Tromba brand ambassador, and Nicole and Robin Wynn, who is not just a rum genius, he's a cocktail genius. He knows how to run a bar properly, which is why I love him, why I really enjoyed working with him, working for him, alongside him. He's just a great dude. You should really follow him and pay attention to what he has to say about spirits and rum in specific. A coffee crisp shot. Yes, that's a good idea. It's a good idea, Kyle. Anyway, guys, it's coming up on 25 minutes of ramble. And I'm just going to sit and sip on this iced tea, which has no tea in it. Oh, that's so good. All right. I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Please, one of you, other than Kyle, I'm just kidding, Kyle. I know I pick on you a lot, but I can only pick on my sister so much. She's family, so I kind of have to be nice to her a little bit because she is allowed to punch me, being my older sister. That's right, not bigger, older, Andy. Um, I would love for you guys to send me something to talk about. It can be something of a challenge to kind of figure out content for these things twice a week on top of all of the other projects that I have on the go. I've got Scrubs, which is normally a black tie gala dinner for the Rogers family and the C-level executives of Rogers and whatnot and celebrities, etc., as a fundraising dinner for the Sick Kids Hospital. Obviously, this year that's going to be virtual, but still coming up with a designed cocktail to go in their box and auctioning off a night with me in a cocktail mixology class for the winner and 10 friends. I've got that. I've got glitter. I've got Di Serono Day. So today is March 19th. Yeah, it's March 19th. 1 month from today, April 19th, is Di Serono Day. There's a big thing coming, and that's what I wanted to mention before I go, is Di Serono Day is coming. So it's an international thing. It's Global Di Serono Day. Di Serono is the original amaretto. We created the category. We created the spirit. So on April 19th, all of the global brand ambassadors from all parts of the earth, from Australia to Japan, the Philippines. Actually, that's just Danilo. Marcus Wolf, who's joined me before in Germany. Terry, who you've seen join me from Belgium and beyond. My cohort Christine, who covers Quebec and the East Coast. We're all working on a project for Di Serono Day. You're going to want to tune into Di Serono_official on April 19th. I'm going to, even though it's not, actually it is. I think it's on a Friday. Can't remember. No, it's not. It's not on Friday. I'm going to do an extra special Fizz Day. I think it's when, I can't remember off the top of my head, and I can't check because both my phones are in use. Camera 1, camera 2. I'll check it. I'll post it next Friday. So stay tuned for posts about Di Serono Day and what we're going to do for that. I'm going to be giving some stuff away. There's going to be other stuff coming down the pipe. And if you live in the GTA, you're going to want to check out the Distillery District as soon as we're allowed to be in modified gray? Red? Modified gray? I don't know. Modified gray and red to me seems like burgundy. They should have like a burgundy category for COVID. But that's just me. I don't know. But yeah, there's some fun stuff coming down the pipe for Tia Maria in the Distillery District. You're going to want to check out. Di Serono Day is coming. There's lots of stuff coming down the pipe. I am super, super busy. It's ridiculous how busy I am, given that I'm not even visiting my other markets like Calgary and Vancouver and whatnot. I'm not even visiting Ottawa, and I've got like stuff going on in Ottawa and Hamilton and Kitchener and London and blah, 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 everywhere. Okay, I've talked enough. I'm out of words. Guys, have a great weekend. If you're out and about, make sure you wear your mask, you sanitize. If people are going the wrong way down an aisle, make them turn around and go the other way. That frustrates me. Cheers, everybody. Have a great weekend. I hope to see you all on Tuesday at 6 for Tia Tuesday. Send me something to talk about. And you know what? This is the way the Di Serono fizzes. There we go. Done.